President Trump offers well wishes to a White House aide who resigned this week in the wake of domestic abuse allegations. He says he hopes he has a great career ahead of him.
Now, he also, as you probably know, he says he's innocent. And I think you have to remember that. He said very strongly yesterday that he's innocent. So you'll have to talk to him about that. But we absolutely wish him well. Did a very good job while he was at the White House.
Rob Porter, a White House staff secretary, has been accused of domestic abuse by 2 ex-wives and a former girlfriend. He has denied the charges. Joining us now is Gabby Morrongiello, White House reporter at the Washington Examiner. So, Gabby, the president didn't mention any of the victims of domestic abuse per se. He's sort of getting some flack for his lack of comments. Do you expect this scandal to continue and impact other White House staff members?
Well, I think not only is it going to continue to impact the White House, it's also going to impact the Republican Party and President Trump's popularity, not only with people who oppose him, but maybe with his supporters even. Somebody pointed out earlier today, Ross Douthat, a conservative Catholic at the New York Times, that when the president makes comments like this, when he defends somebody who's being accused of domestic abuse or sexual harassment, all of that under the sun, it further emboldens the third wave feminists as opposed to his conservative religious supporters. It makes it seem as though they have the moral authority right now because the president and somebody who is linked like him to so many religious groups and conservatives and supporters of his campaign are losing ground when he makes comments like this, when he defends an individual saying that he hopes he has a good career. And so I do think that it not only harms him, but it harms the GOP at large.
It's interesting because it's not just President Trump who was defending him. John Kelly, who was the White House Chief of Staff, is coming under fire for his defense of Porter as well. At least in his initial statement, he was supportive. Do you think General Kelly would just have not known about Porter's past? Do you think he just was ignorant?
Well, we haven't gotten a clear picture from the White House. We've certainly asked them when General Kelly was made aware of these allegations against Rob Porter. Was it during the initial background check? Was it months into his tenure as Chief of Staff? We don't yet know. There have been some reports saying he was aware of this for months, others saying he just found out this week when everybody else did. So I don't think that's clear. What is clear, however, is that the White House is trying to do a cleanup right now. They realize that they botched the response to this. It's something that Raj Shah, the Deputy Press Secretary, acknowledged yesterday, saying, yeah, there are moments where we could do better, and this is one of them. And I think that now they're trying to recognize that they do need to move full force ahead with a response that not only acknowledges that there might be some truth to these allegations, but also recognizes that this is a standard that's going to be set going forward, that they're not going to employ people who have a history like this, and they're certainly not going to be giving them partial security clearances. I
want to switch back to a point you had made earlier about the impact on the GOP, because after signing the spending bill, President Trump took to Twitter making the case that to elect more Republicans in Congress in order to reduce spending. Do you think voters will be paying attention to that down the line when we get to midterm elections?
I think a lot of voters, and this sort of goes to the point that Rand Paul made last night in his floor speech, they're probably frustrated with a lot of what they've seen in terms of the fiscal responsibility of the GOP under the Trump presidency. I don't think that they feel as though Republicans, most Republicans at least, have fulfilled their promises to be fiscally responsible, to be fiscally conservative, to not be raising the spending caps, to be curbing back domestic spending as opposed to raising it over the next 2 years, which is what this budget deal does. And so, yeah, I do think that some are paying attention, but I would say for the most part, as long as this administration continues to appoint conservative justices, judges at the circuit court level, as long as they continue to pass legislation like tax reform, maybe like infrastructure, if they notch a huge deal on immigration, that's probably going to convince Republican voters to continue supporting Republicans in the midterms, even if they have frustrations over conservative fiscal issues.
Okay, well, we'll continue to watch all of these topics as well as the situation with White House staffers. Gabby Morrongiello, White House reporter with the Washington Examiner, thanks so much.
Thanks so much for having me.